Arsinoe IV, Cleopatra's lesser-known sister, lived a life rife with drama, intrigue, and ultimately tragedy. While Cleopatra VII is renowned for her beauty, intelligence, and romantic liaisons with some of Rome's most powerful men, Arsinoe IV's story is equally compelling and deserving of recognition. Born into a family fraught with internal conflict and political machinations, Arsinoe's life and death were shaped by the relentless power struggles of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Arsinoe IV was born around 65 BCE to Ptolemy XII, the ruler of Egypt, and possibly Cleopatra V, although the identity of her mother remains a subject of historical debate. The Ptolemaic dynasty, established by one of Alexander the Great's generals, Ptolemy I Soter, was marked by familial discord and a constant struggle for power. Arsinoe was one of 6 siblings, including her more famous sisters Cleopatra VII, Berenice IV, and her brothers Ptolemy XIII and XIV. The Ptolemaic family was known for its internal strife, with siblings often pitted against each other in bids for the throne. Arsinoe's childhood was likely overshadowed by this atmosphere of ruthless competition. Her father, Ptolemy XII, was a weak ruler whose reign was marked by economic difficulties and a reliance on Rome for support. This dependence on Rome set the stage for future conflicts and entanglements with Roman politics. One of the most formative events in Arsinoe's early life was the rebellion and eventual execution of her older sister, Berenice IV. In 58 BCE, Ptolemy XII was expelled from Egypt due to his unpopular policies and heavy taxation, which he imposed to pay off debts to Rome. During his absence, his eldest daughter, Berenice IV, seized the throne and declared herself queen and ruled along with her sister, Cleopatra VI. Berenice IV's rule was marked by her attempt to assert independence from Rome and secure her power within Egypt. However, her reign was cut short when Ptolemy XII, with the support of Roman forces, returned to Egypt in 55 BCE. Determined to reclaim his throne and punish those who had betrayed him, Ptolemy XII ordered the execution of Berenice IV. This brutal act served as a stark lesson to the rest of the royal family about the deadly consequences of political ambition and rebellion. Arsinoe, who was around 10 years old at the time, would have been deeply impacted by the violent overthrow and execution of her sister. The trauma of witnessing such familial betrayal and the ruthless assertion of power by her father undoubtedly shaped her understanding of the volatile nature of Ptolemaic politics and the precariousness of her own position within the royal hierarchy. Upon the death of Ptolemy XII in 51 BCE, the throne passed to his eldest surviving children, Cleopatra VII and Ptolemy XIII. However, this arrangement quickly deteriorated. Cleopatra, known for her intelligence and political acumen, sought to assert her dominance, leading to a civil war with her brother and his associates Achilles and Pothinus. In 48 BCE, this struggle escalated into open conflict, and Cleopatra was forced to flee Alexandria. Meanwhile, Arsinoe, then around 17 years old, found herself in a precarious position. As the younger sister, she had been largely overshadowed by Cleopatra's ambitions and political maneuvers, but the ensuing chaos provided her with an unexpected opportunity to become politically relevant. With Cleopatra in exile, Ptolemy XIII and his advisors saw an opportunity to consolidate power. However, the landing of Julius Caesar in Alexandria in pursuit of Pompey, who had fled to Egypt after his defeat at the Battle of Pharsalus, complicated matters. Caesar's presence in Alexandria shifted the balance of power once again. Cleopatra, ever the strategist, sought Caesar's support and managed to gain his favor, famously having herself smuggled into the palace inside a carpet by her associate, Apollodorus the Sicilian. Caesar reinstated Cleopatra as the co-ruler of Egypt along with Ptolemy XIII. He also offered to return the Roman-controlled Cyprus to the Ptolemies, making Arsinoe and Ptolemy XIV its co-regents. Seeing the looming threat posed by Cleopatra's alliance with Caesar and her dislike for the Roman control over Egypt, Arsinoe rejected this arrangement. She fled the city of Alexandria with her tutor Ganymede and joined forces with General Achilles. However, after witnessing internal strife within her ranks, she declared herself pharaoh, ordered the killing of Achilles, and made Ganymede her second in command. Arsinoe's declaration was not just symbolic, she actively participated in the military efforts against Caesar's forces. The siege of Alexandria that followed was a brutal and chaotic conflict. Arsinoe, though inexperienced, showed remarkable tenacity and leadership. Her forces initially managed to push back Caesar's troops and even trap them within the city. However, the tide soon turned against Arsinoe. Caesar, a seasoned military commander, managed to secure reinforcements. The siege dragged on, causing significant suffering and destruction within Alexandria. Despite her efforts, Arsinoe's forces were eventually overwhelmed. Caesar's superior resources and strategic acumen proved decisive. Following her defeat, Arsinoe was captured by Caesar's forces. Rather than executing her immediately, Caesar decided to use her as a political pawn. He took her back to Rome, where she was paraded in his triumph in 46 BCE. Roman triumphs were grand public celebrations held to commemorate military victories, and they often included the display of captured enemies and spoils of war. For Arsinoe, being paraded through the streets of Rome in chains was a humiliating and demeaning experience. This spectacle was intended to showcase Caesar's power and the subjugation of Egypt. After the triumph, Arsinoe was not executed, as might have been expected. Instead, she was exiled to the Temple of Artemis in Ephesus, Turkey, one of the great wonders of the ancient world. The temple served as a sanctuary, and her exile there was intended to remove her from the immediate political arena of Egypt and Rome. In Ephesus, Arsinoe lived in relative obscurity but under constant threat. Cleopatra, who had by now solidified her power and her alliance with Julius Caesar, viewed Arsinoe as a lingering threat. Cleopatra's political acumen and ruthless pragmatism were well documented. She understood that as long as Arsinoe lived, there was a possibility of her being used by Cleopatra's enemies as a figurehead for rebellion. In 41 BCE, Cleopatra persuaded Mark Antony to have Arsinoe eliminated. Antony, who had taken over the eastern provinces of the Roman Empire, including Ephesus, was deeply influenced by Cleopatra. He ordered Arsinoe's execution, a decision that was both politically motivated and personally influenced by Cleopatra's wishes. Arsinoe was forcibly removed from the sanctuary of the Temple of Artemis and executed on its steps. This act was a significant breach of the sanctuary's sacred status and shocked many contemporaries. Even in an era accustomed to political violence, the killing of a royal figure within such a revered site was seen as a violation of religious norms and an example of extreme ruthlessness. Arsinoe IV's life, though short, was marked by extraordinary events and dramatic turns. Her bid for power, her hatred for the Romans, her participation in the siege of Alexandria, and her eventual capture and humiliation in Rome highlight the intense and often brutal nature of ancient dynastic politics. Her exile and subsequent execution demonstrate the lengths to which Cleopatra was willing to go to secure her position and eliminate potential rivals. While Cleopatra VII remains the most famous figure of the Ptolemaic dynasty, Arsinoe IV's story is a reminder of the human cost of political ambition and the relentless power struggle that characterized her time. Arsinoe's courage, her tragic end, and her role in the tumultuous history of Egypt and Rome deserve to be remembered.